Welcome back to another episode of the North Star Takes podcast. I'm Bailey Paulicki. He's Jacob Liberta, and we're a Minnesota sports podcast. If you're a Minnesota sports fan, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, especially if you're a Timberwolves fan, because the season is fast approaching, and we finally got the schedule release last week, Liberta. So let's kind of just jump right into it. I mean, obviously, it's not like an NFL schedule release where you can go through and pick every single game and say it's hard to find the first loss on the schedule.
Oh, we could. We absolutely could.
We could for sure. That'd make a long episode. But I guess what are your initial impressions right off the bat? I mean, 82 game schedule. I mean, nothing too crazy that sticks out. But I mean, what are some thoughts that you have on the way it shakes out here?
I think it starts right off the bat there to start the season. It's going to be a pretty easy stretch, or at least what appears to be an easy stretch. Got multiple games against the Thunder. I think we have 3 against the Spurs in like the first 8 games or something like that. And then I think you mix in a game against the Lakers, who I am not very high on this year. I think in the first 10. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of beatable opponents. I mean, the Jazz too, and who are definitely going to be not as good. Obviously, we just took Gobert, and now Donovan Mitchell feels like he's going to be traded any day. So realistically, there's a lot of winnable games there at the beginning. We should hopefully win almost all of them, maybe drop one here or there. But going into that, basically, I could see us going undefeated in October. I mean, I should rephrase that. We'll probably lose one game in there somewhere, but I think we'll win the rest of them going into that November 1st game on TNT against the Suns. So to start off the season, looks really good. Hopefully get us up to a fast start, get us feeling good about ourselves, and then really get a litmus test there against the Suns, who, I mean, obviously were top team in the league last year and appear to be pretty strong again this year. So we'll see what that looks like come that time. I don't know. What do you think about the start of this, Bailey?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's kind of a bummer to have such an easy, start, but then obviously you're going to have a tough finish to kind of counteract that. But I think the encouraging thing is having the easy start while the team is still gelling, learning how to play with one another. The Oklahoma City twice, I know they're young and, they're not necessarily tanking right off the bat, but they just got Chet Holmgren. They're going to be kind of learning how to play with one another. Utah is going to be a complete disaster, especially if Donovan Mitchell ends up getting traded here. San Antonio 3 times right off the bat. That's a really bad team this year. They just got rid of DeJounte Murray. And like you said, the Lakers, I'm not very high on them either. Even if they end up trading for Kyrie Irving, I mean, that's such an early time to play the Lakers that, they're still going to be learning to gel if he's there too. And is Anthony Davis going to be healthy at that time? Is he going to be healthy 2 weeks into the season? I mean, that remains to be seen. So, I think it's encouraging that they have an easy start, and maybe, like you said, maybe they can rattle off just a bunch of wins to start off the season. Maybe they're undefeated heading into November. I mean, that would be insane. And, if you can get off to a fast start, and then as the team learns to play together, Finch installs a system that can kind of get everyone involved. And when guys are having off nights, other guys can step up. If this team can kind of, figure it out, but still win at the same time, I mean, they're going to be sitting in a really good spot.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's all about start fast. You look at, for instance, Phoenix or Golden State last year when they started the seasons, what were they, 18-2, 20-1, whatever it was. Those teams just won every game to start last year, and obviously propelled them into really the highest of heights in the Western Conference. Phoenix ran away with the best record in the NBA last year by 10 games. So, I mean, if you start hot, then you feel good about yourself, build a lot of confidence, and then you really start to intimidate other teams when you're playing them. Obviously, you'll start getting teams' best shots, but at the same time, they know what, there's just that intimidation there that we can really beat you in a lot of different ways. Because obviously we're going to have, hopefully, that pick and roll with D'Lo and Gobert can initiate some things, and then having Cat, Ant, and McDaniels are on the arc to just hit threes. That's massive. And obviously Ant is just coming into his own. Cat was all NBA last year, even more so. So it's just there's so much firepower, especially in the starting 5. That's the starting 5 is as good as anybody's. So if you really get that confidence instilled early on, this team, the sky's the limit. I think that there's obviously you sent me this today, actually, the that athletic writer out there, he's picking the Wolves to be the top team in the West this year. And it's that's a pretty high praise for somebody that's not in the Minneapolis market. So I think that's pretty significant. And I think as the season goes on, more and more analysts, fans, everybody will recognize how good this team really is. At least I'm hoping that's where this is going, because I think we could really make some noise. Hopefully, get at least to the second round of the playoffs. I think it's got to be the goal for this year, I'd imagine. But
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing where we are too when you consider that, like where we were last year compared to where we are right now at this time. It's just like last year was like we want to get in the play-in, like that's the goal. Where now it's like we're looking to win a playoff series, maybe be top 4 in the West, so we can like have home court in that first round. So it's amazing how things have progressed, but it's great. That means things are going right and they're progressing in the right direction. So I'm I'm really excited for it, especially at the start of the season. But as it goes on, there's a lot of marquee games to watch. I know we got 6 on ESPN this year, at least right now. Obviously, could add more throughout the season, and then I think another 4 on TNT.
Yeah, I mean, that's encouraging. I mean, it'd be nice to have a little more prime time, but at the same time, I mean, we can talk about this too, but the Wolves got a new play-by-play guy. Maybe he turns out to be really good. And, I always loved watching the home broadcast with Dave Benz and Jim Pete, because Jim Pete's one of the best analysts out there. But, um, another thing I found intriguing too about this schedule is there's a rivalry series. I can't remember exactly when it is. It might be
Oh yeah, rivalry week. Yeah, well, I
is that
think it's
in
the last week of January.
January. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, we get to play the Memphis Grizzlies because they're kind of our coined rival. Maybe it's just because we had a playoff series against them, but there was quite a bit of trash talk between the two teams last year during the regular season as well. I think it's really intriguing that the Wolves actually have a rival now. I mean, it's probably either between Memphis or Denver, and Denver's simply just because we took Tim Connolly. We got the Cat Jokic thing, and now we got Gobert thrown in that mix as well. But I mean, Memphis is for sure our rival, and now there's rumblings. Maybe Memphis wants to get Kevin Durant. They've shown interest in him. I mean, that'd be an unbelievable rivalry for the Timberwolves to be rivals with a team that employs Kevin Durant. It's like, I mean, that would blow my mind, honestly, because you're going against one of the best players in the NBA, and it's a heated rivalry, and he wants to stick it to you. So, um, yeah, definitely some intriguing stuff there. But back to your point about how much things have changed, expectations wise. I mean, a year ago at this time, Gerson Rosas was still employed by the team. I mean, they went into training camp and fired him. So it's like, I mean, so much has changed in less than a year. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing how quickly this team has risen in the last 18 months or so when you consider where we were even pre Finch, like in February
Yeah.
of last year, when Ryan Saunders still running the show and we were just one of the worst teams in the NBA. And really, there was a whole lot of uncertainty. And then all of a sudden, Rosas brings in Finch in that really shady hiring, I guess, where we
Hmm.
fired Saunders while the team was out in New York, and and then we brought in a coach from a different team midseason, but it turned out to be the right move,
Yeah.
and it definitely propelled us to where we are now, just because we went 11-11 down the stretch at the end of last year, or that year we hired Finch, I should say, and then going into this year, getting into an actual like playing scenario where we're the home team and won that, and getting a first round playoff series where we're competitive. So it's like taking all these steps in the right direction. Just got to continue that and really look at how far this team can go with this core that we've now assembled. And I think even more so than I think number one thing on Wolves fans' mind should be how Edwards progresses. And he
Yes.
shows up in this new year, just because we'll see if he can hold up and his knees aren't an issue over this 82 game schedule again. And then also how Gobert and Towns will play next to each other. And Gobert, too, I think it's something to watch as far as hopefully he's not going to be injury prone as he gets older. I know he's on the wrong side of 30 now. So
Hmm.
that's something to watch, too, as the season goes on.
Speaking of ants, before we wrap up here,
Yeah.
John Krasinski said on his podcast that he's heard from multiple people that just wait until you see Anthony Edwards. The dude is looking like a monster. What are your thoughts about the hype surrounding Ant and his offseason work he's put in this summer?
I believe it. I feel like every picture I see of him this summer, it's like he's always in the gym, but just working on his game. And all these pictures, he's just super intense. All the videos, all these uh, really pickup games. Even I know he got mixed up in one with I think Donovan Mitchell, and
Yes.
like this guy is just hooping. So it's like I think he really took that playoff loss last year to heart, and he just wants to improve and really assert himself as one of the dominant players in this league. So I can't wait. I mean, I think Ants is for real, and this is going to be the dare I say, the best. I think it's going to be he's going to go down as the best player in Timberwolves history. I think in
Yeah.
due time he's trending in that direction. Obviously, that's a bit hot right now considering all the success KG had here. But like, boy, it's hard to really put a cap on Ant's potential.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You're not going to see me pumping down the Ant hype for sure. Because I mean, I agree the potential's there. He's the exact kind of skilled type player. He's a skilled wing that can shoot, can dribble, can I think he's got some good passing ability. We just haven't seen a ton of it yet. He's a good defender when he wants to be. So it's like, I mean, yeah, the sky's the limit. This dude just turned 21 years old. I am so excited to see how he comes in and plays this, at least at the beginning of the season here. And I know Gobert's here, and I know Kid's still Cat's team, but maybe we finally start to see that transition where Ant just takes over, and it's his team night in, night out, and then everything else falls in order after that.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't really, even just a few days ago, we were talking with you and Jackson about this. Like, I was kind of skeptical on it, but then the more and more I thought about it, and then the more and more I consume the Ant content that's out there on like Twitter or something, and then even
Yeah,
go watch highlight videos of last year, like even that. I mean, as sad as it was to lose that game 6, watching those highlights, seeing him and McDaniel's just balling, like
yeah,
that gets you so excited for what's to come. So I think it's really changed my mind, and like you guys said too, that I agree with. I wouldn't trade Ant for anybody right now. I don't think there's a guy in
mhm,
the NBA I'd want more than Ant. So that's how high we are of him on this show. But
exactly. And that honestly just goes to the surrounding cast is already pretty good. Ant's very young, and if he does get to that level, you're gonna have sustained success for years and years and years to come. So it's not saying that Ant's the best player in the NBA right now. It's just simply given his age, given it that he doesn't even have a max contract yet. Like, I mean, the sky is the absolute limit for this kid, and he's not even really the best player on the team yet. He's gonna get there
yeah,
for sure. But um, any other final thoughts from you before we take off here, Liberta?
yeah, Wolf season can't come soon enough. I think that's gonna be the talk of the town come October. So I'm excited for that.
Yes, me too, man. It'll be here before we know it. Once the NFL gets rolling, those first few games will go by quick, and all of a sudden it's going to be Timberwolves time. So, yeah, I just as long as they can stay healthy, I'm just hoping that there's no major injuries this season to throw things off. But man, they're going to be so much fun to watch. And now they got a new play-by-play guy, as I mentioned earlier. That'll be intriguing to see how that all works out. So, definitely a lot to be excited about as you're a Timberwolves fan, even in the dead of the offseason.
Yeah, and I think more than anything, I just want a hot start because there's a lot of
Yes.
winnable games there that I'll be disappointed if we lose.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if they start off, 5-5 or, with a losing record like 4-6 in their first 10 games, that'd be pretty rough. But certainly they could recover from it. But I think that would probably I don't know if I'd say dagger, but it would really hurt their chances of maybe having a home court seed, even that early in the season. So definitely key to get off to a good start. But that will do it for this edition of the North Star Takes podcast. Like I mentioned earlier, please click the like button on this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. Feel free to give us a follow on both Twitter and Instagram, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you make of this Timberwolves schedule? Are there any certain games you're circling on your calendar? And maybe your thoughts on Anthony Edwards and all the hype that he's starting to get here as this training camp is going to be here within a month. So until next time, thanks for watching.